Hi YouTubers, it's Binksy1997 here. Um, I'm not feeling very well today, so please excuse me if I cough or I'm not, very loud or anything. Um, okay, today I watched The Descent by Neil Marshall. He directed and wrote this film. It's an English horror film that was made in 2005. Um, Basically, the rough storyline is a group of women go on a cave expedition, um, but then their way out collapses, so they are trapped inside the small cave. Um, as they're trying to find another way out, they find out that they're being stalked and chased by some human predator type things. Um, the predators, all called crawlers, they don't actually have a name in the film, I don't think, um, but they're generally called predators or crawlers, are basically advanced humans that have evolved to live down in the caves. So, like moles that live underground, where it's absolutely pitch black, the same as in caves, they don't have any, they're completely blind because they don't need to be able to see. So that means that they hunt and move around using hearing. So their hearing is very advanced. Um, they also have scent, but this is quite weak, and they have a good sense of touch. Um, so these predators are then hunting down one by one the women. The very first scene is based around the main character. Sorry, I don't know what that was. The main character. Okay. Sorry, I keep saying okay. As you can tell, I'm not feeling very well, so yeah. Okay, where was I? The, the main character, I've forgotten her name because, I can't remember all of their names. There's like Sarah and Alex and Beth and stuff, but I can never remember which one's which. I think the main character is Sarah, but I might be wrong. If you know what the main character's name is, please comment because I have completely got mixed up with the characters. So the first scene is showing Sarah, um, the main character. Um, she has she is driving along the road with her husband and her young daughter. Her daughter looks about 6 or 7, and they crash, which kills the daughter and the husband. Um, then 1 year later, they go on this cave expedition, and basically that's how the film starts up. Um, the editing could have been done a lot better because um, it's quite lousy in places, and which meant that the film was sometimes quite difficult to understand and to realise what's going on basically. Um, so when they so when they change from one character to another, sometimes it can be difficult to understand where basically like who's following who and which character's which. Um, Again, in almost all horror films, there isn't much of a plot because horror is based on building tension rather than plot, and scaring people and making jump scenes rather than building characters. Um, However, the plot for this horror film is quite good in the horror film scheme. It's not good based on other film genres out of all films. However, in the horror film genre, it does have quite a good plot compared to other horror films. As they do, they do look into the different characters a little bit, especially the main character, Sarah. Um, you get to know how she feels and why they went into the caves and what each of the characters are feeling at points, and a bit about their past. However, like I said, the plot is very basic compared to other films. Um, the On other reviews and on other websites, people do say that there are a lot of jump scenes. I'm sure you will agree with me that a horror film is not made out of jump scenes. A horror film is a mixture and a balance of tension, jump scenes, maybe even gore at points, depending on the genre of horror. Um, Basically, that's it. Horror is mainly tension and action and thrill, basically. So you do want to have some jump scenes in a good horror. However, if the film is full of jump scenes, then it will not be enjoyable because you will be on the edge of your seat throughout the whole film. You will not have a time to breathe, you will not have a time to relax. If you're in the cinema, you won't have a chance to eat your popcorn because you will be too glued to the screen, you'll be too tense, which you want part of the film to be like that, but if the whole film is like that, it can be very draining, very too disturbing, too real, and just not enjoyable. So you want a couple of jump scenes, but not too many. That's why I was a little bit wary of watching this film. However, there were enough jump scenes um, to make it good. However, it wasn't over the top, and there were different levels of jump scenes. You will always have in horror films the predictable jump scene where you know that the jump is going to happen, and then it happens. Then you get the jump scene where you think something is going to happen. For example, someone walks over to a closet um, and is about to open it, and you think something's going to jump out. They open it, nothing's in there. Then they breathe, you think it's alright, and then they turn around and there's the jump, the monster's there. That's almost like a second degree jump scene, as I like to call it. And then, you get the crazy ones that completely catch you off guard. You had no idea they were going to come. Um, so they have different levels of jump scenes in this. You get the really predictable ones. Um, for example, near the beginning of the film, where she is looking out the window and then the pole comes through. I found that one pretty predictable. But then some of the others. Oh, sorry, that was one of my birds. I don't know if you heard it, but that was one of my birds cheeping. So yeah, it's good because some of them I felt that they were trying to be a jump scene, but they didn't make me jump. That might have just been me. It depends on your personality and where you are, what you're doing, how you're feeling. However, I felt like that was a very minor jump at the beginning of the films. So it doesn't have too many jump scenes. So even if you don't like jump scenes, like I don't particularly enjoy them, to be honest, you don't have to worry about that too much in this film because the jump scenes are either rather mild um, or predictable, or and they're also very spaced out, so it gives you enough time to breathe and relax a bit and enjoy the film and the plot. Well, what is of the plot. Okay, let's right. The Apart from the beginning of the film, maybe the first 15 to 20 minutes of the film, not even that actually, maybe the first 10 to 15 minutes of the film, is based around the car crash, and then a little bit in the hospital, about 2 minutes in the hospital, and then about 5-10 minutes in, the cabin and on their way to the caves and things. Apart from that, the whole film is based in the cave, which could have been a disaster. It could have been very boring, very samey, a bit stale. However, even though it has a lot of disadvantages to it, it was directed very well, as all the advantages of being in a cave were brought out and used in the film. For example, caves are very dark. This cave particularly is absolutely pitch black in places, which means that the only lighting was either by head torch or handheld torch, which is a very yellowy light, or a green glow, almost like a giant glow stick light, which shines a greeny light. These work very well, as with the head torches and the torches, you only get a limited amount of light and a limited amount of time, as the batteries will run out. Same with the glow stick thing. Sorry about that. And also the lighting is, rather than a bright light, it can be very dim. And also the fact that it's greeny can make, I don't quite know what to call it, but rather than sort of a white light, a yellowy or a green light can make it seem a lot more eerie, and makes the walls green and the surrounding green, and which can be quite, builds up tension. So the lighting was used very well. Also, the small spaces in the caves, so the small tunnels, were used very effectively, as if you're being chased, it is not easy to move around. So this meant that there was a sense of claustrophobia, and also you could not run as fast. So there was more of a tension in the fact that you thought that the person was going to get caught, so you almost find yourself screaming at the screen, keep going, run faster, which is good, I think. I find that's fun. So, also, coming back to the main character again, Sarah, whenever she blacks out or passes out, she has the image of her daughter holding a birthday cake with the candles, and she's either just holding the cake or she's trying to blow out the candles. The rest of it is just pitch black with just her and the candles lighting up her face. This works really well, as it constantly reminds you of her loss of her daughter and what she's thinking about, and that it's constantly in her mind. And it also gives a sense of eeriness that, seeing a child holding a birthday cake can be a wonderful celebration, but then it also shows loss and devastation, and it's also quite creepy, the fact that only the candles are lighting up her face, like when you hold a torch under your thing and, it almost makes your face look, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I mean, I'm sure, I hope. That worked very well. The monsters, the predators or crawlers, I found them very effective, as they were looking human. This makes them already very eerie and scary, because when you've got something that looks human, it makes you think that you automatically get a little bit of a connection with them, thinking, do they feel the same things as us? Do they have children? you automatically get a bond with them slightly more than you would with other creatures that are not anything to do with humans. As they look quite similar to humans, it can be difficult sometimes. It can make them more creepy because they're more like us. Also, their calls were very good. So like their growls and their snarls, basically. Occasionally, they sound almost like a baby crying or like a child giggling or something, which also creates a sense of human, and you almost think, oh my goodness, is there a child? Oh wait, there's not a child in here. It's one of them. Which worked very well. And also, of course, you get the normal screeches and growls and hisses commonly found in monsters. Yeah, so that basically sums up the monsters. I really don't want to give too much away, as that's not the point of a review, and I don't want this review to go on too long. This film is rated a 7.5 on, I've forgotten the name of the website, but IMD or so, IDM I think it is. I would give this film a 7 or 8, 7.5, 8.5 maybe, because it is very good. If you're looking for gore, there are not very many gore scenes. However, when there are gore scenes, it is good. And the gore progresses through the film, so nearer the end there is a lot more gore. I would definitely recommend you see this film. It is rated 18. However, I think really it depends on your child. I will always say these in all of my reviews. I think that you have to know yourself or to know your child. Some children, I'm only 15 and I saw this film and I was laughing at some of it. It really depends on how sensitive you or your child is. However, there is gore, there is violence, there is strong language, and fear, and obviously psychologically it can damage you or your child if they watch certain scenes. However, I would rate this mainly from 17-year-olds, maybe 15 to 18, depending on the personality of the viewer. I would definitely recommend you see this film if you like horrors. I would definitely say this is a good film. The acting was very good. The plot was good for a horror film. The directing was good. The editing could have been a little bit better, but I still think it was good. It's a good film. Definitely go see it, or buy it on DVD, or Netflix, or whatever. But please, I always encourage, buy the film or pay to watch it. Do not buy pirate DVDs, and don't, support the company and the director, because it takes one hell of a lot of work and a lot of money, and if you want to see a film, I think you should have to pay for it, or wait to see it on TV or something. I saw this film because it was on the Fright Fest seasonal film 4, so please respect the law and the directors and the makers of the film. Apart from that, enjoy, and please comment on what you think, this film, if you've seen this film, what you think it was like, what didn't you enjoy about it, what was your favourite scene, who's your favourite character, what you loved, all sorts. And if you recommend or want me to do any reviews on any films, then please feel free to send me a request. Okay, thank you. Bye, Z.